So today, Brother Guy is going to be sharing on our mission trip we did to Rarotonga last month. But just before we do that, you all would have heard of the Great Commission. Anyone tell me what that is? Going back to school today. The Great Commission. Can you see that? Okay, well, that's what it says. The Great Commission. What is that?
Go into all the world and share the gospel.
That's right. When Jesus, at the end of the Gospels, you read it in Matthew 28, Mark 16, told his disciples, go into all the world, preach the gospel. Whoever believes and is baptised shall be saved. And that's given the title, the Great Commission, because that's what we're called to do. So what do you get? Maybe I'll redo it. See that better now? Yeah. Okay. So what do you get? What do you get if you take off the C? And what does omission mean? It means you left it behind. So without the C, you get omission. In other words, it doesn't get done. All right? And Proverbs 29:18 says, without a vision, the people perish. And that word vision, if you look it up in your concordance, it literally means to see. All right? So what is it we need to see so that we're not committing the great omission compared to the Great Commission? We need to see that actually Christ is important. We need to see that people need to be saved. We need to see the love of Christ that he had for people, that wants people to be saved. Now, don't get me wrong, if we don't do this, no one's going to miss out, because God's got all who are going to be saved predestined, so no one's going to thwart that. But the difference is, we are either going to be used by God or we're not, and if he's called us to be used and we omit to do that, guess what? That's disobedience, isn't it? And we're going to have to answer for that. So whatever you do, don't commit the great omission. Make sure you do the Great Commission. Now you might be sitting there thinking, listen, that's a bit of a tall order for me. I'm not a preacher, I'm not an evangelist. You know, I'm young, I don't even actually know the word very well. This just sounds way over the top for me. And I get you, I've been there. I'm not an evangelist either, that's not my gift. But you know, when we do this, when we perform the Great Commission, it's not just one guy on his own, going rogue, going into the world. This is the church mission. This is what the church does. So if you're not the guy out there preaching, saying the words, guess what? You can be the person who's at home praying for that. You can be the person, if there's a need for Bibles to be printed or books to be printed, who's offering, donating financially. You know, you can be the person supporting that in all sorts of ways. You know, there were women when Jesus and the disciples were preaching who gave of their substance. I don't know if you ever think about this, but as the disciples were going out there, it's real life. They've still got to eat. You know, their clothes are going to get dirty. They're probably going to need their clothes to be washed or repaired. They're going to need to sleep somewhere. You know what I mean? So all of those sorts of things need to be performed by someone, and this is what a lot of the women did. No doubt, you know, in the background there, providing the food, making repairs when needed, and all this sorts of things. So it very much is, it's a business. It's the business of the Lord. And any business isn't just the director or the owner. It's all his workers, it's how much stock he's got, it's the phone calls, it's the infrastructure that comes in, all of that. So just remember, the Great Commission, it's not just for the person going and doing the preaching. This is actually for all of us. So in line with that, this morning I've tried to find as many songs as I can to do with that. So as we sing, we're going to be reminded of that. So we've made the point before, when we sing, it's not just praising God. The Bible says a couple of times, once in Ephesians, once in Colossians, sing to yourselves, singing to yourselves, and hymns and psalms and spiritual songs. So it's praise to God, but as we sing, we're also singing to ourselves. In other words, reminding ourselves of what the words are about. And a lot of these words are about, going out into the world. So